You know what's weird about getting older? You start realizing some of your biggest regrets aren't really about money, careers, or missed opportunities. Sometimes it's about the people you genuinely cared about, people you lost, because mentally you just weren't right at the time. And honestly, man, that problem is one of the hardest things that sits with me. Because when your mental health starts going downhill, you don't always notice it happening. At least I didn't. And you just slowly become somebody different, short-tempered, less patient, get more irritable, more withdrawn. Everything feels heavy. Everything feels personal. And eventually, you get into the mindset where everybody just annoys you. Somebody texts you, it's annoying. Somebody asks you what you're doing or where you're going, it becomes annoying. The moment somebody disagrees with you, now you're ready to mentally declare war over Facebook comment at 11 p.m., acting like you're in Fallujah. And at the time, it does feel justified. That's the scary part. When you're mentally struggling, your reactions make sense to you. Meanwhile, everybody around you is thinking, what the hell's happened to this guy? And honestly, that's painful to look back to now. Because there's people whose final memory of me isn't the real me. It's the mentally exhausted version of me, the stressed version, the angry version, the version drowning internally, pretending they were fine. Not the calm version, not the loyal version, not even the funny version. And it's really hard, because once you calm down mentally, later on, you start replaying those situations differently in your head. You start thinking, man, I did handle that bad. Why the fuck did I push those people away? I was fighting my own problems and taking it out on everybody else. And I think a lot of men quietly understand this feeling, especially veterans, because veterans are really good at surviving, not always good at processing the emotions after the event. We're very good at bottling up stuff for years, then act surprised when suddenly emotionally detonate over something completely stupid. Like somebody cuts you off in traffic and suddenly your nervous system reacts like the nation's under attack. But in that moment, it does feel real. That's what mental exhaustion does. It slowly changes how you react to the world. And if you leave it unchecked long enough, eventually relationships start to get damaged. And here's the dangerous part, my friends. Isolation starts feeling smart. You start convincing yourself you don't need anybody. People are drama. I'm just better off alone. Meanwhile, deep down, you're actually exhausted with hurt and emotional burnout. Big difference. And look, sometimes people should absolutely be removed from your life. Some unhealthy relationship, for example. Some bridges generally do need to burn and never be rebuilt. But I do feel that a mentally struggling man deliberately burns every bridge, good people included. And once enough bridges are burned, life gets real quiet, too quiet. And honestly, the silence hits you differently as you get older. Because eventually you realize peace and loneliness are not the same thing. It took me a long time to understand. And this isn't me sitting here pretending I was some innocent victim in all of this. I definitely was not. There are situations I absolutely wish I'd handled completely different. People I wish I saw the healthier version of me instead of the struggling version of me. And maybe just somebody watching this today, listening, feels that same way too. Maybe there's people you missed, people you pushed away, people you hurt while you were mentally drowning yourself. And that's real guilt. And that's real. But here's the important part I've learned. You cannot stay chained forever to the worst version of yourself. At some point, you've got to let regret teach you instead of destroying you. Because self-awareness matters. Being able to finally say, yeah, I wasn't okay back then. Yeah, I handled some things really terribly. And that's growth. That's maturity. And that's healing. The most dangerous ones is the one who destroys everything in his life and still somehow believes that everybody else was the problem. And honestly, some bridges can be repaired, but some, even when they say they can, you still become better moving forward because of what you're losing and what people taught you that matters. Because the worst mental health chapter in your life does not have to become a permanent identity forever. You're allowed to become calmer, healthier, more self-aware, more emotionally disciplined. And honestly, man, I think a lot more men are carrying this guilt than anybody realizes. They just don't talk about it. They stay strong, they stay humble. And remember, it's okay to walk alone. God bless and have a safe day.